I don't know if you're familiar with investor Nelson Peltz, but if you're a fan of Disney, if you're a fan of Marvel, you probably should be, because he is working really hard right now to get onto Disney's board. In fact, he feels he is owed 2 seats on the board. So he would be able to, in a very large way, impact the direction of Disney and the various pop culture, IPs that it controls, things like Marvel and things like Star Wars. And he has been very critical of their strategy, which he refers to as woke. So you can tell that he's a smart guy. He said, people go to watch a movie or a show to be entertained. They don't go to get a message. Why do I have to have a Marvel movie that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to do that? Why can't I have Marvels that are both? Why do I need an all black cast? So there's a lot that's wrong there. And as a fan of both, diversity as well as Marvel, I'm gonna have to critique him there. The Marvel's movie is not all women. That's not true at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Sam Jackson is a very notable role in that. Black Panther was not an all black cast. It wasn't at all. The Winter Soldier was there and Martin Freeman was there as his CIA character. Did you see those movies? Nelson Peltz, I'm gonna guess that you didn't. Not only because you're so critical of movies that generally people seem to have enjoyed, but also if you're a businessman and your argument is masquerading as being about business strategy, that this is a bad strategy for Disney to follow, then I'm gonna need to check your work a little bit, because I know how much those movies have made. Do you know how much those movies have made?
Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait, click join now on YouTube.
Black Panther made $1.35 billion. That makes it the 19th highest grossing film of all time. It seems to have done okay for itself with its not even all black cast. Even the second one, Wakanda Forever, that didn't do as well. It still made over $840 million, putting that in the top 100 movies gross of all time. Now, the Marvels did not do as well. It's complex as to why that is. It only made $206 million. It was edited down to almost nothing. The advertising for it was terrible, but you can at least critique that one, I suppose. And honestly, don't listen to Nelson Peltz and don't listen to the box office. The movie was great, you should go see it. It's available on Disney Plus. If you already have it, you should watch the Marvels. But Captain Marvel, okay, that made $1.13 billion. It was the 32nd highest grossing film of all time. And so even his argument, which he's pretending is about money, doesn't make sense when it comes to the money. It doesn't even make sense when it comes to his critique of the diversity in the films, because he's exaggerating how white people were apparently banned from being in the movies. And I love that he throws out, like, I don't have a problem with women, but you do seem to have a problem with them being represented in films. You're not alone in that. There's a lot of weak, broken men that have problem with ever seeing women in starring roles or ever seeing someone who isn't white in a starring role. But the idea that an entire company should dramatically change its business strategy because you're uncomfortable seeing someone who doesn't look like you in a starring role seems ridiculous. That is very much a you problem. That is not a societal problem. It's not even a Disney problem, because outside of the Marvels, they've done quite well with this strategy. And by the way, Wakanda Forever, which we mentioned in terms of the money, it was in the first week of release on Disney Plus, it was the most watched movie that they've ever experienced. There is objectively, even if you are a racist, you have to acknowledge that there is an appetite for films like this, okay? And there is money to be made in producing them. But I want to step back from that and talk a little bit about why I care about this. The issue here is that generally, when people like Nelson Peltz use the term woke to apply to these movies, they at least try to pretend that there's something to that. There's some sort of agenda being pursued. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know if like the Marvels is how like Dylan Mulvaney is gonna trans your kid or something, but they pretend that there's something insidious or aggressive about it. But he's not even doing that. He's being clear. It's just that black people were cast in a movie, that a woman was cast in a movie and not just as a sex object. She's actually a heroic figure. That bothers these people, okay? And what they're advocating for, under their terms, they would say that it's anti-woke. It's not. And why are we doing them the favor of giving them the PR win of using the terms that they want? What they're doing is advocating for segregation in films, okay? It is very clear. You can be in a film if you're white. You can be in a film if you're male. If you're willing to be a sex object, you can be a woman. You just can't star in the movie. And if you're not, if you're gay or if you're a woman or if you're black or whatever, you don't get to be in our movies. You certainly don't get to star in our movies. And there was a term for that sort of societal separation. It's segregation. That is what's being advocated for. Now, I get that he's a billionaire, so we're supposed to pretend that he's above things like that. But understand the intellectual movement he's a part of. It's people like Ben Shapiro, people like Charlie Kirk. These are segregationists trying to set up a pop culture that is just for people like them, and everyone else need not apply. They pretend to have some sort of profit-seeking motive in this, but as we've already demonstrated, they are willing to segregate pop culture, even if it means companies will lose potentially billions of dollars in doing so. They're willing to set fire to a fortune to make sure that only white males ever star in movies like this. Anyway, we'll see if he succeeds in getting on the board. You know, the world sucks, so he probably has a pretty good chance.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.